And we have an incredible ZVT coming up. Show me that excitement, please. Thank you. All right, next match, ZVT. 2 foreigners. I think it's do or die maybe for both of them. So there's a lot on the line here. Welcome to WW Sortof. And his opponent, hold your hearts, E.G. DeMuslim. All right, guys, are you ready to rock and roll? Good. Fighting.
Oh, we got it? Go on, dude.
And I'm going to pass it over to Tastosis.
Great work. Welcome back. Glad we finally have another game going. It's going to be a ZVT. Artosis.
Yes.
Sort of the underdog, no pun intended there. DeMuslim, very accomplished, very solid player.
Well,
does
yeah.
sort of have a chance.
Yeah, I would say absolutely sort of has a chance. He's one of the best Zergs in Europe at this point. You know, he's really been coming up strong recently with that second place finish in WCS Sweden. And he's really good. You watch him play and you're like, wow, this is actually some stellar play.
You got some really good up-and-comers here.
Yeah, that's true. But DeMuslim, he's getting better and better and better at TVZ since he lost in WCS in the finals to Zikdomini. You know, he got second place in his country, but he's really good TVZ still. He knows some very abusive builds. I'm very excited to see him do them here. I think I know what he's going to do, Tasteless.
What do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to go fast command center into another fast command center while going Hellions, into a Banshee, into 2 eBays, because
that is a serious prediction, Artosis.
That's a serious prediction, Tasteless.
Miss Cleo over here, you are...
Well, we'll see. Watch him just go 11-11 racks, 3 games in a row. Yeah, could be.
This is my first time casting Sortof's games, so...
Oh, sick.
Great for me.
Well, you're going to like him.
He's looking
really
forward
good.
to it. TVZ, excuse me, a great matchup. A lot of fun. Kind of that old classic Starcraft action there. You know, this is one of these matchups where you build up to a certain point, and then it's just battle after battle after battle. Unlike TVP, where it's a very delicate matchup. After one big battle, the game can be decided, shifting gears. Here, it's a lot more massive up. Here's Sortof on camera right now. As you can see, he's a young guy, 19 years old. A lot of good players coming out of Sweden.
Oh, you kidding me, man? Sweden is like mini Korea, even though I think it's actually bigger than Korea. You know, they have so many players that you look at and you're like, well, these guys could actually just be in Korea playing, or, you know, they're the ones that oftentimes knock out top Koreans at events like IEM. We'll see if Sortof can follow that path that so many of his, you know, countrymen have done in the past.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see a country like Sweden becoming so dominant. And it looks like we have this game up and ready, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into it and intro these players. And, of course, over here, DeMuslim as well. 22. You know, that's actually not that's not very young for pro gaming.
Yeah, he's
no Nesty. He's not in his 30s.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a kid compared to you and I, Tasteless, but he's a little bit older than these other guys. He has more experience is really what that means. You know, he's been a pro gamer since Warcraft 3, and he's really starting to shine in Starcraft 2. Yeah,
he absolutely is. Well, the game has now started up, so I would love to intro these players again. TVZ should be a lot of fun. Artosis.
Yes.
What do you think the score is going to be?
I think it's going to be 2-1, one way or the other. I'm going to go with DeMuslim winning 2-1. I think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sortof could take it.
Actually, I was going to say 2-1
really
as well.
Yeah.
All right, so we got it on screen now. Introducing the players now over here. Show them some love. Make some noise for DeMuslim. Meanwhile, bottom left, the underdog, but maybe he can do it. Give it up for Sortof. So the map's going to be Daybreak. Tell us a little bit about this map, Artosis.
Well, Tasteless, this is a very long map, one of the longest areas, and also a very balanced map. This is, I mean, the games are always good on Daybreak, aren't they? It's hard to cheese. It's hard to get across that map. There's a lot of bases that you can take relatively easily. And, you know, for these reasons, it's one that everyone seems to feel comfortable on.
As you can see here, the Marine guarding the Zelnaga watchtower. Just to get some idea in case Zerglings are en route. And, you know, macro games here from both of these guys. Nobody opened up with any cheese. You know, there are builds where you could try to end the game in the first 5 to 10 minutes. I know we got a lot of people in the audience who may not be aware of, you know, exactly how StarCraft 2 operates. But if you're having fun watching this and you want to watch more StarCraft 2, beyond just the Intel Extreme Masters, definitely check Artosis and myself out at the GSL at gomtv.net. That's gomtv.net.
That's right. Well, DeMuslim is going for that quick triple command center. Artosis getting 2 gases as well. I have no doubt he's going to go right into Hellions and probably a Banshee as well, getting a couple eBays when he can, because that's like, it's very greedy. If your opponent doesn't all in you, then you're going to be at least even with them. And that's something that some Terran players are having a hard time against Zerg with, because with these new Queen-heavy builds, Zerg can really drone up and feel safe without using a lot of larva on Zerglings.
All right, the Lings are now moving out. And they're going to try to occupy these watchtowers here. And what exactly do you expect to see from Sortof here?
Well, you know what? I think that we're probably going to see 6 Queen play. You know, he's already got 2 more on the way, getting speed as well. Well, now that he has a speed, he doesn't actually have to go for 6. You can go for 4 with speed. You know, you have to have enough out there to actually defend well against any Hellions that are out on the map. But with speed, it's really kind of up to him. If you don't get that, though, you really want the 5 or 6 so that you can have 3 or 4 walking around, you know, blocking up chokes, attacking Hellions, that type of thing.
Third base now going down. And when you get these builds like this, you always have these 2 Queens out here in the front. You want to push the creep heavily early on. This is a pretty wide map. It's not the biggest map we have here at the Intel Extreme Masters, but it's definitely a map where you want to have your creep ideally right around over here, if not further, so that when you engage the Terran, because the Terran's probably going to take this base, this is normally when it heats up, you're going to have that speed advantage.
Well, we do have a starport on the way for DeMuslim. Looks like he is going to go to that Banshee Hellion play, as mentioned before. For Sortof, a Roach Warren coming up. And you know what? To get your creep pushed out and Zergling speed and get a Roach Warren, I wonder exactly what his plan is going to be here. Is he actually going to commit to Roaches at all? Could it be a little attack, or is he just going to use them to help out against the incoming Hellions?
Yeah, we're going to have to see. It looks like these creep tumors are all going to get done in time. Now, the Hellions here, and it always varies how many the Terran player gets. Sometimes they only have a few. Sometimes they crank out a ton. The Hellions are here to wipe out these creep tumors, because he knows what Sortof wants to do. Like I said, Sortof wants to have his creep out around this region. DeMuslim does not want that to happen. He wants to be able to move around the map without the Zergs having that speed advantage.
That's right, Tasteless. Well, the Queen trying to get rid of some of these Hellions. In the meantime, Sortof is droning up massively. He does have just 3 Roaches out, and as we see, they block those Hellions perfectly. So, you know, while it's expensive to get 3 Roaches out, if you lose 0 drones because of it and put the fear of maybe some sort of counterattack in Terran, it can be very worth it. So, you know, right now we do have Sortof also going for some Spore Crawlers. So he's afraid of the Banshees at this point.
All right, he's done a really good job pushing the creep, by the way. Since I last mentioned it, it's out yet again. And, you know, I think so far the Hellions have been pretty ineffective. Would you agree, Artosis?
Yeah, the Hellions haven't really done much. You know, you want to slow things down, kill a little bit here and there. And they haven't done that yet, but he has more and more and more Hellions all the time. So we'll see if he can get something done with this huge number. You know, it looks like he was just trying to not be too aggressive, didn't want to lose any before.
All right, he's moving in here. Some Roaches are here to defend the Queen, try to take out the Banshee, and both players wisely back off. Meanwhile, the third base for the Terran, en route over here at the most common place for the Terran to take his third base. And if you're wondering why they don't take this base over here, it's because there's not enough minerals for it to be worthwhile. Meanwhile, creep being cleaned up, and a lot of Sortof's hard work being destroyed.
That's right, and he didn't go for a 6 Queen opening, so it's going to be hard to get all that creep back. A lot of those tumors were very important to him, so the Hellions now being a little bit more effective than they were before.
Roach is backing up And it looks like actually he didn't get enough of the creep tumors for this to be incredibly impactful. So sort of going to keep on pushing. Meanwhile, taking a 4th base.
That's right. Well, with that 4th base and his 1-1 finishing up, it looks like we're going to see a transition into Infestors here. Infestor Ling really is all the rage right now in ZVT. So many Zergs are going for this composition, then teching up later, oftentimes into Ultralisks, which for a long time, you know, people thought weren't really ever going to be used in the matchup. But a lot of players such as Stefano, such as Sortof, have shown us that, in fact, yes, you can use them and they can be very effective. So DeMuslim's going to have to be careful. He has to stay on top of the amount of bases his opponent has and keep on top of his upgrades because already Sortof is ahead in that area.
All right, the Hellions, Banshee, and a few Marines and a Marauder moving out now.
It's a pretty scary little task force.
He's got to be careful here because if either player loses their army at this point in time in the game, it can be pretty bad. Now the Roaches are coming up here. There's no creep connecting this 4th base, so this Banshee can do a lot of damage because the Queens cannot get there quickly.
That's right, the Queens are on their way, but they are going to take a bit as well. A lot of Roaches here to actually buffer for the Hellions also. And it looks like, can he actually save this hatchery? Yes, it looks like he can. The Ling's coming down, trying to surround everything, while the Roaches do walk up and hit those Hellions a bit more. And it looks like Sortof has, in fact, secured his 4th base.
Very nice kiting there by DeMuslim, but Sortof really the victor there. Ideally, DeMuslim would have wanted to destroy that hatchery or at least take out a substantial amount of that army.
Yep. Well, DeMuslim's still trying to get something done here. His Banshee's still doing a lot of damage, but losing a lot of his other units. Going to have to back up. Now, Sortof is actually going for a Hive and a Spire. So instead of going into that Ultralist play, which has become increasingly popular lately, he's going to switch it up into Broodlords. And of course, those Broodlings do get the melee upgrade and the Carapace upgrade that he's worked so hard on. So this is, I like this transition a lot, Tasis, to go right into Broodlords. He can always add Ultras later if DeMuslim overcommits to Vikings.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Artosis. You know, especially in this area over here, where, by the way, these rocks will be opened up. Broodlord pushes are so powerful. Now, we know DeMuslim is going to take that location very soon. But meanwhile, he is pushing out again, 160 supply to 176. Some regrouping. Is DeMuslim overextending? Is Sortof safe? Hard to say. Spine Crawlers finishing in the nick of time.
That's right. Those Spine Crawlers so important right now. He does have a lot of Lings and Roaches up here as well. Only 6 Infestors out, and where are they? They are not with this army. He needs to bring them around if he really wants to hold on to this base.
All right, DeMuslim may need to turn around with these Infestors, get their nice fungals.
Oh, excellent fungals indeed. And with more fungals going down, the Roaches and Lings will kill off a good portion of this army. And it looks like, once again, DeMuslim not being able to do any significant damage.
But you know what? These medevacs are doing a pretty good job. I thought Sortof would have cleaned it up a little bit quicker. They are going to get out, but not as fast as I would have hoped. And unfortunately for Sortof, he does not manage to kill off the medevacs.
Well, you know, he didn't kill the medevacs. That's true, Tasteless, but he's kept that 4th base, which is so important because 7 Corruptors are on the way. And as those pop out, he's going to be able to start making Broodlords. And that can be pretty hard to deal with. There's going to be a ton of units on the ground. But DeMuslim knows Tasteless. He's adding 2 starports.
All right, he's landing at the 4th. Meanwhile, the 5th for the Zerg is now being taken. And it looks like Terran ideally should probably push before Broodlords are out and try to smash this 5th base, and especially clean up the creep here.
You know, if they do hit right before Broodlords, it's a great timing, but DeMuslim is sitting back a little bit. You know what? We may see him just go ahead and get his Viking count up and try to deal with the Broodlords that way, but there are a lot of Broodlords on the way, Tasteless.
All right, so we see the Broodlords. We know where they are on the map, Artosis.
They're hiding, Tasteless. Not even the
here
observers
they are.
can find it.
So he's got some Broodlords out now. Now, Broodlords, the more you have them, it starts to kind of go up at an exponential rate where eventually you can get very out of control. You're dealing with, let's say, 10 Broodlords. Very scary stuff.
Oh, yeah,
versus 2, for instance, in this case.
Indeed. You know what's funny is DeMuslim just now is starting siege mode. That's a very late siege mode, but of course he doesn't need that against Broodlords all that much. You know, it's very helpful against the Infestors that are with the Broodlords, but it looks like he's going to try to deal with those in other ways, including a lot of Vikings.
If you notice, he's actually watching the rocks over here to make sure they're not destroyed too soon. The small force running back now. Looks like they will get surrounded and taken out. Small victory there for Sortof. Both players are maxed out, so we're at the boiling point right now. We should see an attack probably from the Zerg pretty soon.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's going to have to move across this map and start attacking. In fact, starting to make some spine crawlers to help out with that. Sometimes you do move them with the army. And if he doesn't attack, the problem is DeMuslim will get so many Vikings he can take out the Broodlords. And when the Broodlords are dead, then it's just going to be Lings and Infestor for Sortof. And that's not really the ultimate composition. At this point in the game, you need some Hive Tech units, whether it's Ultras or it's the Broodlords.
All right, the Marauders, the Marines, the Siege Tanks, all trying to prepare here. This Brood Lord push is inevitable, but Artosis, question, man, do you feel like he's waited too long? It seems like this has been a long period of time without any action here. And, you know, he's got a good amount of Vikings. Let me check the Corruptor count here. It's at 11 to the, let's see here, 11 Vikings. So, I don't know, Artosis, has waited too long?
You know, I don't think so, actually. Both players at this point really want to win this game and basically just keep getting points to advance from their group. So they're working on their ultimate maxes, you know, the best armies they can get.
What we just saw there, he's trying to get rid of SCVs to free up more supply. He's saying, I don't care about economy, I care about an army. So things are really heating up. This is what we refer to as supreme late game.
Yes, indeed. And with so many Vikings and all the upgrades finishing up.
We're seeing the same here from him as well, actually. Sorry to interrupt your Artosis. He's taking out his own roaches, as you can see, to make more Broodlords.
That's right, man. He needs a lot of Broodlords, and he needs a lot of Corruptors, too. Right now, he has 9 Corruptors, 9 Infestors, and 7 Broodlords, with a few more on the way. It looks about 5 more on the way. And so this is a very scary army, but we have 19 Vikings out. Is 9 Infestors and 9 Corruptors enough to take out all those Vikings?
And you know, the Thor, if he manages to hit those Corruptors, because they do tend to clump up during attacks, it can be pretty bad, but hold on. He's now trying to push towards the main, a smart move since this area is so well defended. Are the Corruptors going to be able to do it? Are these Vikings going to clean this up?
And look at that, those Vikings doing such a great job, almost one-shotting in a volley, a Corruptor there. And in fact, the upgrades are pretty even for the flying units of both players.
Yeah, we got a +1 attack here. Let me try to find the Vikings. +1 attack for the Vikings as well. Now he wants to bait these Vikings over here and use fungal growth to catch them. If he does that, all these Vikings die and high chance DeMuslim loses.
Yeah, that's so true. But that's a hard place to make the Vikings come out far enough for the fungal to reach. But there he goes, he's moving down. This is a much better choice to try to get that fungal off, but at the same time, this allows Marines to get under those Broodlords.
And by the way, we have a counterattack going on over here in the back. The Broodlord's pushing down. And is he prepared over here? We have some spines. I don't think it's enough. Meanwhile, he's pushing forward over here towards the planetary.
And in fact, the Vikings are coming down and attacking Tasis, but some nice fungals going down, a lot of infested Terrans, and the Corruptor's doing a great job. So it looks like a slight base trade scenario going on. These Broodlords should be able to take out this planetary very easily, while DeMuslim has run through that Zerg base he was just attacking.
Now DeMuslim has to do as much damage as possible. This is a small army, and he has to do it very quickly because right now this is a death ball here from Sortof.
That is so true. We do have a lot of Vikings and Thors on the way for DeMuslim, so he's going pure anti-air at this point, but he's also upgrading chitinous plating for his Ultras. So if he does a switch into Ultras, after he loses all of this, then DeMuslim's going to be in a lot of trouble.
All right, he's moving forward. These buildings are going to be a bit of an obstruction here for the Marines and the Marauders. And more Corruptors coming in here. And I feel like right now, Sortof is beginning to sink his teeth in.
That's right, and look at this, 21 Banelings being morphed right here. He wants to break through these Marines, break through some of these buildings as well. A great choice, sort of pushing forward right now. How many Vikings do we actually have left? It's not that many, but the Thors on the ground helping out a lot as well.
He's barreling through here. I do believe this is the killing blow right now, and that is it, GG. Damn.
Yeah, great play by Sortof here, Tasis. That was sort of amazing by him, in fact.
It was almost more than sort of amazing. Wowzers.
You know what? He's going to have to change his ID to for reals because,
for reals?
I mean, the Sortof puns don't even work on him because he's so good. That was some great play. He got that ultimate death ball. DeMuslim just his Vikings weren't enough. With that many fungal growths, with that many corruptors, Sortof was able to punch through. DeMuslim, in the meantime, had some useless units. Like, he had a decent amount of Marauders in there, and the Marauders just not going to be as useful. It's
interesting to see both players elect for the late game, and then see DeMuslim get completely outclassed. And also, one of the things I thought maybe DeMuslim shouldn't do, although it's a tough situation, is he had his production facilities in a location that once he got past, once the Sortof got past the fourth base, he was able to, I mean, the buildings basically got in the way of the army. So there was no way for him to actually stem and get under the Broodlords with his Marines and Marauders.
You have to do that. You have to get under those Broodlords if you want to kill them. There's just, other than that, you have to rely on Vikings, and we saw how that worked out. It wasn't working out. So, you know, when you get to the very long game against Sortof, he's obviously very good at making that death ball army and utilizing it correctly. DeMuslim might have to be a little bit more aggressive this time around.
I think so. We're going to see soon. We're going to get this game going underway as soon as humanly possible. Again, TVZ on this map, great matchup. What is our next map, Artosis?
It's going to be Ohana.
Ohana.
And this is definitely a map that is pretty good for DeMuslim, I'd say. You know, it's a lot thinner for him. He can get around a lot quicker with his army, but it is a little bit long. So it takes a while to actually push the entire Zerg army.
This is also a map where the longer the game goes on, the tougher it can be for Zerg. Zerg, mid-game, early game, it's okay, but there's not a ton of expansions. There's no shared expansion. And also, after a point in time, you're basically expanding towards your opponent, which is problematic for obvious reasons, because Terran's always the one pushing until, you know, the late game where the Zerg has Broodlords, like game number 1 that we saw.
Very true, Taste, as well. The game has started, so
Let's
we'll get in there in just a second. I'm wondering, man, can DeMuslim come back 2-0 at this point? Because Sortof looked just so solid the entire game. DeMuslim attacked several times, it just never worked.
I wonder. I do wonder. So, the guy we're talking about, we thought he was the underdog. Make some noise for Sortof. Meanwhile, in the upper left, from the UK, give it up for DeMuslim.
Well, I expect to see basically the same type of greedy build out of DeMuslim. You know, 3 command centers, get out some Hellions, get out Banshees, and just try to control the map a bit. In fact, I got to watch him play on this map earlier today while Day9 and Kalaris were casting, and that was basically what he did, but he may switch up the order. You know, sometimes you want to mix in getting your Hellions with Reactor a little bit quicker because it just can be a safer option. You can scout what's going on, put on a little bit more pressure as well.
All right. Time will tell exactly what builds are going to do, Artosis. Again, we're just seeing the very basic openings here. If you can, please get on Twitter. Talk about Gamescom. And talk about the Intel Extreme Masters. Please hashtag IEM.
That's right.
Yes.
Guys, get on there, do that. Follow at IEM as well. I mean, this is a great tournament series. It's been around forever, Tasteless. This is one of the oldies, and it is one of the goodies as well. And this season, there's just it's completely revitalized. You know, we have all these qualifiers around the world. We have all these great players flying in to play in it, and a great new format for them to fight through.
Absolutely. And, you know, of course, guys, if you have the chance, you are able to play Heart of the Swarm at Gamescom, so definitely check that out.
Yes, go and do that.
If you're watching the stream, you're just unlucky.
Sorry,
you
guys.
should have come to Gamescom.
Yeah, I guess you guys should have come here. I don't know what you were doing.
All right, so we have the command center now on the way. And again, these are just very macro-oriented builds, very safe. When we say macro, we mean focusing on the economics of the game, trying to get a solid, you know, mid-game and late game, getting that tech tree, getting those bases up, and making what is essentially, a long, dramatic game.
Yeah. Well, DeMuslim, will you throw down a couple gases, or are you waiting? It looks like he is, in fact, waiting right now to throw up another command center, most likely. Whereas, in the meantime, Sortof getting a gas pretty quickly once again. May just be going for that quick speed for safety.
And by the way, if you're wondering, and this is for the noobs out there, because I know we got a lot of diehard fans, we got a lot of noobs here at Gamescom too. As far as Starcraft 2 goes, this is a neutral depot. that we see here, and that's why he's attacking it. That's no mistake. And the reason for that is because there was a trick where you could put 2 bunkers at the bottom of the ramp here, actually wall that off from the Zerg and bunker rush the hatchery. So, you know, we patched that up a little bit.
Well, the 3rd command center is on the way, Tasteless, so he is going for that super hyper greedy build once again. But you know what? It works out pretty well. Sortof is a droner, man. He does not just sit around and attack very often. And as long as he takes his drones off of gas when he reaches 100, as most Zergs do with this build, then DeMuslim's going to be completely safe with what he's chosen to do.
All right, so let's see if he does just that. He's at 100 now. Will he remove them?
Maybe he hasn't noticed yet. He is keeping them on so far, so this could be something else.
Yeah, I'll come back and check in a minute, but yeah, so far he's going to continue to mine that gas.
Well, if he suspects the exact same build out of DeMuslim, that could be a great choice, but no, he's now finally taking the drones off of gas at this point.
All right, so he is actually going for what we were talking about. Meanwhile, continuing to drone up, Ling speed on the way. And let's see how many drones we have here. 35 right now to the 26 for the Terran. Don't forget, Terran does have mules as well. 3rd base on the way here for the Zerg.
Yep. And it looks like we are just kind of seeing an exact rematch from last game, but on a different map. Now, this map should be just a little bit better for DeMuslim to do this on. You know, the map is a lot shorter. He's going to have an easier time actually attacking areas. Last game, it took him so long to get across the map that sort of had time for things like spine crawlers to finish, for queens to walk over and help against the Banshee. And all those little things really count for a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, we got the gases coming up here, and it's going to be tech mode.
Oh, you know what? This is interesting. The Baneling Nest is coming up, as we see right here. A couple Evos going up as well. Now, the Baneling Nest doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see some sort of craziness or all-in. You know, this could just be another build similar to the last one, but last game he got that Roach Warren just for a few defensive Roaches that he utilized very well all game. Of course, on this map, the Roach is not going to be quite as useful. You want the Roaches on a longer map.
Now with the Banshee coming out here, it's going to be really, really handy for the harass right up here at the front. You know, with the Hellions, again, Hellions are good, but with the Queen range upgrade, you can't quite do the damage you could do before because you can't really kite the Queens. And as you can see, Queen's much more threatening since that patch. They're now chased out. He's going to have to wait until he has some more Hellions and Banshees.
That's right. Now, we do have 1-1 on the way for Sortof, and he's made a decent amount of Lings right now. He's got 18 out on the map. If he makes more than that, then we should see some aggression. But at 18, he might just do a little bit of poking, perhaps, and try to catch the Hellions off guard. Because as Zerg, if you can surround that first group of Hellions, you are just in beautiful shape.
Absolutely. All right, so the upgrades now. The 1-1 is on the way. Still got a little bit of time there. Gassing up even more heavily. Let's check the worker count again. 55 to 50. And I was about to ask, do you think we're going to see this command center move over there? But it looks like now it's time.
Yes, I think we will see.
You want to do that when you have enough Hellions out that you could basically deny any Lings from coming over here and trying to kill your SCVs.
Yeah, DeMuslim basically has map control right now, but Sortof is pushing back. This is a nice little attack, getting a couple creep tumors. That's actually a great move there by DeMuslim.
Yeah, he's getting those creep tumors that are headed towards the 4th base. Very nicely done.
Well, right now, Sortof just kind of zoning everything out. It's interesting that he's continuing to make a good amount of Zerglings in his hat. He's made actually a decent amount of Banes. It looks like he's expecting another attack like DeMuslim did before with, you know, maybe a couple Marauders, a handful of Marines, Banshee, and some Hellions. And if that were the case, you surround everything with those Lings, you let the Banelings hit, and you just crush it. But DeMuslim not being as aggressive this game. He knew it didn't work last game, so he's being a little bit more careful.
All right, the infestation pit has just now started. It's over here. Meanwhile, it looks like Sortof, because of the harassment in this location, is now going to take this as his 4th base. Now, do you think this is a safe location, Artosis?
You know, as a Zerg player, you want to take that high ground one, but as you said, Tasteless, the harassment over there, the attacks over there, they've been too powerful. And so it's more important when you get the 4th base up as opposed to where it is. Worry about holding it after you actually have it. So it's going to be harder to hold over there, but at least he can get it started.
Well, now we have DeMuslim moving out. when you're moving out around 100, a little bit over 100 supply, you got to be very careful in each engagement, because if you lose your army, you're going to have major setbacks here. This is not a really beefy army. He's basically here to try to take out these creep tumors. Now, there were some banelings making, but unfortunately for DeMuslim, he did not move towards them. He could have taken those out easily.
Well, now the other Lings and Banes are coming up. He may go ahead for a surround here and try to hit the Banelings. It looks like he's going to wait for some more units, but here we go. This is really a committal, and those Hellions in pretty good spots. Can sort of actually do a surround.
Really nice micro, but he's going to try to block it off. He needs to pick up.
Oh, it looks like he will surround a good amount of these units, and the Baneling's going to have to turn around. That was actually really nice micro by both players there.
The Banshee continuing to pick off Banelings. Banelings retreating now. This is not good news.
No, it is not. Sort of right now, getting a lot of drones, going up to Hive. No Spire, though, so it looks like we will see him go either into just 3-3 into Adrenal Glands, or possibly into Ultralisks.
All right, he's going to move around here now. Remember, you got to be careful when you're on that creep, especially when you're this deep in. We have a lot more Banelings here. Let me check the unit counter again. Actually only 6 Banelings out, and 24 Lings. Meanwhile, DeMuslim having a very dominant position here. He's doing a great job pushing.
He really is. He's even started his next base. Both players have 2-2 about to finish, but the Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. Baneling speed about halfway done. When all these upgrades finish for Sort of, he's going to be pretty fearsome for a bit, but DeMuslim's, as you said, he's still in a lead position. He's got more supply here, and you never want that at Zerg.
Nice bungle there, taking up those units that were split up a little bit. And by the way, the 2 Queens taken out. Right now, Sort of being very patient, handling himself very well here. Now the problem for him, well, that thought, moving in here again. Banelings now connecting, bungles being thrown down, but DeMuslim is too good at splitting up his army.
That's right, and in fact, going after this hatchery now, this 4th base Sort of cannot lose this. If he loses this, it's going to be almost impossible to come back, and it does go down.
All right, he takes that out. Meanwhile, a counterattack with some Lings. Probably not going to do enough here. Now going towards the 3rd base here for the Terran. Meanwhile, Zerg taking another base right over here.
All right, well, I mean, the Lings are doing some decent damage to the mineral line of DeMuslim at the 3rd, but he will clean that up as well. And look at these supplies, 176 against 114. I mean, Sort of is in the worst spot that you could imagine at this point.
Yeah, it looks like this could be the beginning of the end here. He's breached the base. Ironically, the buildings that were meant to be helpful in defensive positioning now making it a little bit harder here for Sort of to take out those Terran units. We have another Doom push coming down here from the top to the bottom. By the way, getting a lot more tech labs. He's saying, you know what, the only threat in this game is going to be Banelings. So he's going to have a lot of siege tanks to be able to take those out easy peasy.
Yeah. What can Sort of really do here? I mean, he's getting some ultras. He has to get like 2 or 3 perfect engagements, I feel like. DeMuslim is, look at that, forces another cancel on the 3rd. These two have basically been on 3 base versus 3 base for the majority of this game.
Now he does have the additional command centers coming up here, so if he can get those over here, that'll be good news. But again, as Artosa said, it is just 3 base versus 3 base. So, you know, we'll have to see. Supplies not too far apart either here. Now notice this, he's splitting up his army. He just wants to force a cancel. Let's see if he pulls it off.
Oh man, I think he's going to taste this. These Marauders doing so much damage to it. And in fact, he does. So now Sort of has to decide, does he try to turn this back into a macro game, or does he just go?
And I don't know. I feel like basically DeMuslim is just going to try to wait him out, you know?
Yeah.
He's just going to keep waiting for that 4th base to try to be made. As we see, it's about to be made right here. Drone on the way. There he is now. He's just going to keep denying this 4th base, either right before it finishes or right as it finishes. And it seems to be a pretty good strategy.
Yeah, for sure. We do have DeMuslim getting ready to take that 4th, as you said, Tasteless. And if he takes that and holds it before Sort of can secure his 4th again, that's Zerg players don't like this, basically, okay? Zerg needs more bases than Terran, and DeMuslim has done a great job utilizing this map, as we mentioned. He's doing kind of a similar strategy to what we saw on Daybreak, but Daybreak's so big that it's a lot easier for Sortof to get more bases, whereas here, DeMuslim has been everywhere.
Yeah, he really has. Also, nice positioning here, as you can see. The 3 siege tanks, nice arc here. Not the easiest thing in the world to fungal. Meanwhile, Sortof, now, he's about to finish these 2 bases. And here we go. As I said, he's going to go out right as these things are about to finish. Kill him, probably attack here, maybe go into the Zerg's heart. But at this time, the Zerg is max and the battle begins.
And here we go, the Ultras all charging in. Some nice fungal growths going down. Does Sortof have what it takes to kill off this army, though? And it looks like, no, he absolutely does not. 1 Ultra trying to get away. 3 Infestors left over as well. DeMuslim has way too much and a 50 supply lead.
Unbelievable. Now DeMuslim is going to come in here and take out the 5th base. Meanwhile, this base still operational right now. Now the question is, will DeMuslim keep on pushing, or is he going to turtle? And in fact, he's going to drop.
He is indeed, and Sortof just doesn't have much to defend this. 1 Ultra in the main. I guess that was enough, though, as DeMuslim did in fact turn around, thinking there's going to be more units there. But DeMuslim is on a rampage right now, up by 60 supply. Even if he loses this army, he's still fine.
Nice fungals here, though. Sortof kind of hanging on right now. But as I say that, the drop occurs here. He takes out the, he takes out the spawning pool. That's so bad. And now the Ultra Cavern. Oh. And right now, this Zerg player, it just does not have a tech tree. So, I mean, I don't know what he's going to do. If he loses the infestation pit, he's at the point in time where he can only make drones and ultralisks and queens.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. Other than that, just corruptors, because he is making that greater spire, but that's literally it at this point. Sortof is on his last legs. He has to get something done immediately.
I think this is the nail in the coffin here. If he gets this, then the entire tech tree is gone, and boom.
Down it goes. The last few units for Sortof coming up to battle off these Marauders. They do kill them off, but now we have DeMuslim still on 4 bases against Sortof, who is mining from about 1.5.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Looks like now he's going to go ahead and make a beeline, I guess straight to the heart of the Zerg's base. We'll have to see. I guess a counterattack is all the Zerg can do. But, beyond that, I just feel like we're slowly watching Sortof suffocate.
Yeah. Well, Sortof, he still has a few Ultras here and there. But the Marine Marauder army is coming for him. These Ultras not going to be able to stand up to the micro of DeMuslim. And here we go. This should be pretty much our final attack from DeMuslim before Sortof has to concede defeat.
Yeah, I just don't see anything else that Sortof can do. I mean, it's basically a game of math.
Yeah, even with these Broodlords about to pop, man, there's just too much damage coming out of DeMuslim's army. And here we go. The last Ultra going to be taken down. The Broodlord's popping, but too many Marines running in right now.
And he is just spilling over here, taking out the Broodlords. I got to say, Sortof did a commendable job staying alive, but that's going to be it. GG. Well played.
Indeed, DeMuslim going to go ahead and tie that one up.
Some pretty long games here. I feel like Sortof did a good job in staying alive, but staying alive is not the goal in StarCraft 2. It's to win. DeMuslim had a few great maneuvers coming out there, and I hope the next game's gonna be as epic as that last one.
I know, right? These are getting pretty long. Both these guys, big-time macro players. Not to say that they can't cheese, but they really don't do it that often. They're very comfortable in playing the longer game.
DeMuslim, his decisions when he pushed were so perfect. Even in the early part of that game, making sure to be aggressive in the natural 4th base location, pressuring Sortof because he is such a late game player, going then to that opposite location, saying, well, I got to expand somewhere, easier location for DeMuslim to push. It's funny when you watch these little things that occur early on in the game and how that influences them to maybe move somewhere else or make this unit, and then it just starts to stack up, and eventually, DeMuslim's plan all along is working out.
Yeah, it was a great map for him. The next one going to be Entombed Valley. I don't like this map as much for the style DeMuslim's been playing. I really love it, though, when Terrans open up with 2 barracks, whether it's a rush or just like a fake.
That build is good.
Yeah, on this map, man, I think it's one of the better ones.
It's one of our smaller maps. It's not one of these like Daybreak, one of the maps you casted earlier. That's a massive map. By the way, guys, it's so good to be out here at the Intel Extreme Masters. Look at all those nerds out here. You guys having fun at Gamescom?
Not those guys, that's the camera's on, but everyone else, I think.
Yeah, all right. Some of them are smiling. And yeah, it's good to be in Germany again. We actually love coming to Europe. We've mostly been going to North America lately for events, so this is nice to kind of be out here again.
That's right.
We were just we actually flew up here from Australia, Artosis, and that was.
It was a 42-hour trip for us.
That was. If hell is real, I think it's you constantly going from airport to airport to airport for all eternity.
That is for sure.
I think that's actually what it's like. Well, I think I assumed DeMuslim had to do a quick little break there, but now it looks like he's just getting ready. So whenever he gives us confirmation, we're going to start this game. Guys, if you are watching the stream, actually, you know, it's screwed. Even if you're in the audience, get out your cell phone, get on Twitter, and tweet about Gamescom. Talk about what games you like here for Starcraft, what games you want to see from the event, and then, of course, also hashtag IEM.
That's right. Intel Extreme Masters is a great tournament. We got to get behind it, get it trending. I saw it trending earlier. Let's keep it trending forever.
Yeah. It was number 2, right, when it was trending? On what we saw.
Yeah, it was.
It's not enough.
That's not enough. How could
Gamescom needs to be number 1.
Be ahead of IEM?
Jeez.
How could this whole entire huge thing be ahead of IEM, man? It's just, it should not be. Intel Extreme Masters, great tournament. So get on there, do that. Without further ado, Tasteless, the third game has begun.
All right, guys. It's the rubber match, and here's our Terran. Give it up for DeMuslim. And in the upper right, we have our Zerg player, the underdog, but playing very well. Give it up for Sortof. So they're in cross spots, Artosis.
Yep.
That means they're as far away as humanly possible from each other. That means any kind of rush the Terran's going to do, there's not going to be a whole lot that the Terran's going to. Well, let me rephrase that. There's not going to be a ton of efficacy with any kind of rush.
Yes. It's because, you know, if they're like, let's say, top right, top bottom, you can get up there so fast. And even in the mid game and the early late game, you can push across that distance with such speed that Zerg has a much harder time. But across this long map, Zerg has plenty of time to build things, to set up flanks, to do runarounds. So as far as spots go, this isn't what DeMuslim wants. This is what Sortof wants.
And first hit in racks.
Right.
I like this location.
That's right, he's doing it 2 racks, Tasteless. Not a super cheesy 2 racks. It's not like 11-11. But you know what? 2 racks at all can be scary. If Zerg underestimates it, if Zerg miss micros, then a player with DeMuslim's execution and micromanagement skills can just kill him.
So he will not see the barracks here.
Yeah, he was actually looking for a barracks too.
Yeah,
that's why that Zerg went over there. He's like, oh, maybe there's a barracks over here. Nope. Right now, it might just look to him like it's going to be a 1 barracks expand. If I'm a Zerg right here, I might be thinking that.
Exactly, and that's exactly what DeMuslim wants the Zerg to think. Meanwhile, he's actually going to be doing what we refer to in StarCraft as applying pressure, which is where Zerg wants to make drones, but guess what? Drones and Zerglings come from the same place. They come from the larva. If you force him to make a bunch of Zerglings, then he can't make drones. And the only way to do that is to send Marines towards him and then pull back.
Yeah. Well, decent amount of Marines out already at 2. No Lings out yet because, of course, the spawning pool has not finished. It's about to finish, though. Now, how many Lings will Sortof make? This is really, really important.
And as Artosis said, the push is on. Spine crawler going down. That's very important in this moment. 2 SCVs and a bunker being made. Second spine crawler on the way here.
And look at this. Sortof is not taking this lightly, Tasteless. Making those 2 spine crawlers. He should be safe no matter what. But you know what? DeMuslim's costing him a lot of money. He's making 2 spines. He's not mining with these drones. He's making more Lings than he wants to. So this is still a pretty effective rush by DeMuslim.
Forcing those bunkers to cancel. I have to say I'm a little bit surprised he actually made that many bunkers. Considering he saw the 2 spine crawlers, what do you think?
Yeah, you know, I think that that's just to make sure that those spines finish. Because if he cancels them and mines with those again, then, I mean, Sortof here, he wants 1 spine, not 2. So just forcing him to finish 2 of them, completely worth making those bunkers and canceling.
But, you know, here's the question. I mean, how many SCVs were sent in that attack? Is that really worth it?
See, that's the question right
that's
there.
That's a lot of
it?
lost mining time.
It is. It looked like he thought he might be able to actually get something done, but sort of made enough lings. He did not underreact, and that's what this type of double barracks pressure actually requires.
Command center now on the way, and I like what DeMuslim's doing here, making a wall with the barracks. Ain't no way in hell Zerglings are going to get through that.
Yeah, well, right now they will, but
no,
when that wall is complete,
when he makes more barracks here,
no,
he's safe.
No, completely safe, and it has so many hit points too. You know, what are you gonna do? Make banelings and bust it? No, you don't really want to unless you're Demaga.
Old school Demaga. Now the command center nearly done here. There's going to be a little bit of a lull here, as we wait for these guys to build up. They're very far away from each other. In these spawning positions, so there's not a lot they can do to each other.
Mm-hmm.
How many more queens do you think Sortof should get? Should he go with 4? Should he get 6? How do you play this?
I like the 6 normally, but he is going to go 4, I believe. He's already got 2 spines. He's shown already that he likes 4 with speed, and I expect him to just continue on that path. He's played very well with it so far. And he knows that after a double barracks rush that fails like that, Terran makes 2 command centers. You don't just make a command center and double gas or something. You make 2 command centers every single time. So any more incoming attacks? Nope, none. So he can just sit there on those 4 queens, drone up, and really get his economy rolling.
And that's exactly why Sortof is going to send these 2 lings over here, probably hide them. He might even get burrow and burrow them. He wants to make sure that when this command center finishes, that it can't be landed here as easily. And if it is landed there, then he knows.
Right, well, right now the factory is finishing up. Kind of cool to see DeMuslim not make that wall, because everyone makes that wall in this map.
I thought he was going to do it for sure.
No, when you set up those raxes like that, like Zerg will even scout that, be like, okay, there's going to be a wall there in a second, not even think of attacking. So kind of like a tricky little thing where he didn't spend that extra money and instead has been able to tech up a little bit quicker, even though he was making 2 command centers at once. So DeMuslim really pushing every single edge he could.
All right, DeMuslim now cranking out a few Hellions. Oh, how do you feel about the Sortosis? I was really expecting it to be siege tanks for some kind of an epic push.
Well, Terrans love their Hellions. They're quick enough that they can actually give you some map control, kill off a few Zerglings here and there, and that's really the things DeMuslim wants to do right now. He's been off the map for a long time, and he's got to get out there and see what's going on.
Okay, here they come now. Ideally, they'd like to push back the creep. With the Queen range, not going to be as easy. Queens can actually go head-to-head with those Hellions, so he'll probably just loop around, check for anything suspicious. These Hellions, even though they can attack, they're really there to do scouting, more so than do any damage.
That's right. In fact, just harassing a little bit on these lings. Sortof, though, going to be able to catch those Hellions. That was a little bit
trap.
Sloppy. And he's going to micro against this as hard as he can. We'll see if DeMuslim can actually kill a lot of lings here, but no, it looks like the lings will come out victorious. A little overextension with those 2 Hellions.
The rocks are now destroyed, opening up a little roadway here to get into the Zerg's 3rd base. Meanwhile, command center now, speaking of 3rd bases, he's about to get started up.
Well, that is true, Tasteless, and that's good timing on it, right? Because when he was just up there, no drones at the 3rd base. He's going to be mining just moments after Zerg at his 3rd. And, I mean, that's great. Zerg wants to be mining a while before Terran on the 3rd, and even longer before Terran on the 4th. So we'll see if Sortof can catch up a little bit through his next expansion.
All right, we got the destructible rocks over here under attack. He wants to clean that up as quick as possible. Meanwhile, Zerg wanted to take his 4th over here, and that's exactly why Terran moved out like this, to deny those Zerglings the presence, to take out these rocks. Meanwhile, the Queen's now coming back to try to push them a little bit further away, so they can, in fact, destroy these rocks. A lot of trying to deny.
Yeah. Well, right now for upgrades, these guys are pretty even. Sortof actually finishing his 1-1 a little tiny bit before DeMuslim, but DeMuslim's getting ready for his 2-2 as well. And it looks like it's going to be just pretty even as far as all the upgrades go.
Well, there's a little bit of downtime here as they're continuing to set up. And it looks like the starport now landing over here. He's going to be cranking out a ton of medevacs nonstop. Now, he will probably do a lot of drops with those medevacs, but you got to be careful because every medevac that you drop with, there is just, you know, there's always a chance you lose that medevac.
Yeah.
Now we have Zerglings coming down here to try to drive away these Hellions. He'll do whatever it takes to try to push back that creep.
That's right, and he's doing a great job of it. These Lings and Banes trying to catch him off guard, but DeMuslim's micro is way too quick here, and he is just not losing anything right now while he's continuing to damage Sortof in his creep push.
All right, the Lings now coming down. Are they going to get the surround? And wow,
like
they actually got away. I thought they were screwed for sure.
Yeah, it looked like it for a moment, but Hellions are just so fast, you can never underestimate them. We do have Hive on the way for Sortof before he even has his 4th base up and mining. So that is a pretty quick Hive for this game. But DeMuslim, he's got 2 factories ready to pump out siege tanks. No siege tanks yet, though. I'm actually a little bit surprised on that. He needs to start those right away. In fact, he's making 2 more factories.
I don't even, is he going to switch into mech? Is he going to actually try to push out here, do some damage, and then once his army's killed, just completely mix it up? Because that's a smart move if it is.
Yeah, maybe, man, maybe. It's a little bit different to see him with 2 factories that basically have only made Hellions, but both have tech labs, and then adding another 2 while making another base. It's weird.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird. I guess you can do that. I guess that's why he wasn't making 7 of the factories initially, but we'll see. All right, we'll definitely know after this attack. Here he comes in here now. And he can't afford to lose his hatch. Who's going to engage first? Who's going to bite the bait?
Yeah, I mean, it's cost inefficient forever attacks into Ooh here, but with these infestors coming up, it looks like Sortof should have enough. A nice Ling flank as well. The Baneling's starting to connect, and Sortof cleans up this attack very nicely.
Taking out these infestors, though, one small victory for DeMuslim. Will the Banshee go down? No, actually, the Banshee's still going to be a menace here on this map until the Queen cleans it up.
Well, finally that Banshee does die. DeMuslim keeps those alive longer than almost anyone I've seen. Now, at this point, we do have an Ultralisk Cavern coming up. Continued ground upgrades on Zerglings and Ultras for Sortof. He's got a 5th base on the way. But DeMuslim, he has all those factories. And he actually canceled one of them. Okay, so he wasn't going for it. That's why it looks so weird, because it was
I was going to say, like, 4 factories. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. He was kidding you. He's just going 3 facts, which is actually something DeMuslim does a lot.
I was indeed kidded.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be a planetary for the obvious fact. It's pretty exposed. Zerg can hit it pretty hard. And Terran's going to want to hold this until he can max out again and start to push. Meanwhile, Zerg doing a phenomenal job pushing out the creep. I'm loving it.
Yeah, his creep spread is still really good, despite the fact that DeMuslim has constantly been out there trying to push it back. And in fact, that's another reason why he's made that planetary. Ling counterattacks at his 4th base are going to come so swiftly, and they can just run away just as quickly. So he has to have that planetary, which of course is going to hurt his economy a little bit as well.
All right, Terran's moving out. Will Zerg engage or will Zerg counter? Let's see here. We have about 8 medevacs, 6 tanks. That's a good amount to take on this number of Banelings. Corruptor's coming in here. He eventually wants to get that Broodlord tech up and running, but it may be too late if the Terran gets too close.
Well, DeMuslim is moving across the map. He realizes he has to push out now. The Ling's coming down, but this is not the right time for those to engage. With 4 Broodlords on the way, he may be able to force tanks to unsiege, in which case Lings, Banes, and Infestors can close the distance.
All right, the Broodlords are almost done. Nice surround over here. He's leapfrogging forward, trying to get to the upper left. The Zerg is trying to buy time by darting in, forcing a siege, then backing off.
Well, the Broodlords, Tasteless, they are ready, and they are coming in. Right now, DeMuslim has no Vikings and no Thors, so this might even come as somewhat of a surprise. Here they go, pushing forward. The Lings attacking with them. The Banelings rolling in. And it looks like DeMuslim's entire army is going to be crushed.
Sortof just obliterated him. Unbelievable stuff here. Now we had a drop over here. It looks like he wanted to try to destroy this hatch. So far, no success. Let's see where it goes now. Oh, bungled. This could not get worse with DeMuslim.
You're so right, Tasteless. I mean, his supply is still very high. His economy is still very good. But just now, he's adding his extra starports. Just now, he's starting his Vikings. Every other game, he was on top of these tech transitions. But this time, Sortof has caught him off guard with it, doing it slightly quicker.
All right, the nice surround here. Oh my God, we might be at the point of no return here. That army destroyed. This base on the way. Let's see, let's do a mineral check. All right, almost empty here. And that's okay, but not quite enough. This obviously rich with resources, but for the Zerg, okay, almost empty. More than enough, and so on.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of broodlords on the way to reflect how many minerals and how much gas he's actually mining, Tasteless. With tons of Vikings on the way, he's already getting up to about 7 in just a moment. A bunch of Thors popping out, everything but siege tanks. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a little tech switch here from Sortof to really punish him for all those Vikings.
You know, another denial here. Again, a Sortof is just everywhere. It does seem, if I could be critical of him for a second, it seems like he stopped spreading creep. Then again, he already has more than enough creep on the map. But
yeah.
Let's see here. Now moving out with these Vikings. Corruptors on the run, but that Viking range is oh so good. Meanwhile, a lot of Broodlords in the middle of the map. Let's see, let's do a Corruptor count. What's his anti-air looking like? He's at
9 Corruptors.
9 Corruptors.
With 5 Infestors. So that's pretty darn good for right now. He has 7 more Corruptors on the way as well. So his anti-air is more than enough. It's going to be hard to stop those Infestors from getting spells off as well with no siege tanks.
All right, we're probably going to have another engagement here. Meanwhile, a little runaround. Is he going to get the bungle off? And he does. Snap reactions here, which is going to make this attack incredibly less effective here. Meanwhile, Spine Crawler's almost finished. These Marines Marauders, not a lot of HP. Meanwhile, a drop over here.
Well, that drop going to kill off a Queen and maybe a Spine Crawler. Not really that effective, though. This doesn't really matter right now because Sortof is gearing up for an attack.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real chink on the armor here for Sortof. And as you said, Artosis, oh, I speak too soon. He's going to be attacking any second now.
Well, this attack, we'll see if it can actually do something. DeMuslim at this point has done a great job. You know, he's kept sort of busy. Hasn't done damage really, but kept him busy, and thus he has a huge bank and can really start to macro up after he loses his army in this fight.
All right, now here's the problem. DeMuslim has to survive this attack, or this game's over.
Yeah,
there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now DeMuslim's going to
so
try to do a counter over here to draw that army away. Is it going to work?
Oh, huge fungal growths and a ton of banelings coming in. And that is the problem of having no siege tanks right there and no ghosts as well. Those infestors are just so powerful. Look at this, all these fungal growths.
Oh my God. Now there's nothing he can do to these Broodlords, but there's mass drops over here. Hatchery down here. Another hatchery taken out. Suddenly things spiraling out of control in this game.
Yeah, DeMuslim is doing a great job with his multitask, but the overall army composition of Sortof is just superior. Can DeMuslim actually make enough Vikings to chew through all the infestors, to chew through all the corruptors as well?
This expansion going on. I have not seen a game spiral out of control so quickly in quite a while. Again, at the end of the day, he's going to have to deal with these Broodlords here and the Corruptors, but still, so many bases actually being taken out back to back here. This game completely action-packed. And it looks like once this planetary goes down, it's going to be sort of pushing right towards DeMuslim's bottom left base.
It looks like both players may end up losing their 4th bases. Thor's doing a great job here. The Queen's trying to transfuse. It is not enough, but it looks like he will be able to at least clean up the little Thor army.
Couldn't believe how long that planetary stayed alive, by the way. Well, he's continuing to push. Don't forget that, you know, the Terran bases can relocate. He's trying to crank out as many Vikings as humanly possible. Who will kill who first? More attacking units here from DeMuslim moving up. Sortof still maxed out right now.
And, you know, I think Sortof should be able to have this, really. DeMuslim has basically nothing left. He's got a little army, mostly Vikings in it. But even with those Vikings, if he kills off all the air of his opponent, Sortof has Ultras again. So this is going to be very tough.
And it looks like up here, the Viking engagements occurred, but there are more Corruptors than I can even count, and that's going to be it. GG. The upset has occurred, and Sortof is your winner.
That's right. Sortof showing some great power there, doing such a good job against DeMuslim in the Supreme late game.
You know, he's such a powerhouse in that late game, you know, as you said.
If he gets a 4th base up, he's pretty fearsome.
And you know, with DeMuslim being the favorite there, I would have thought we would have had at least one all-in. You know, DeMuslim's well known, he's very famous, but Sortof. Damn, this guy's really good. I think he could get pretty far here in this Intel Extreme Masters.
Oh, definitely. I got to agree with you there, Tasteless. Sortof is a contender, I think, in pretty much any tournament he enters at this point, which is so funny to say because who was this guy 4 months ago, 5 months ago?
Right?
He was just a high-level Zerg in the European server, and at this point, he's ascended to something far greater.
Absolutely. I love that, you know, for instance, in Warcraft 3, the scene over the course of years and years and years, it was always the same players.
Yeah.
They were very good, they were very talented, but it was always the same guys. So to be here in StarCraft 2, we're only a little bit over a year in. We got all these new nerds, all these new pro gamers who are taking out heavy hitters like DeMuslim. DeMuslim, a dominant player during the beta, and now he's, you know,
still a dominant player, to be honest.
Absolutely, but I mean, sort of new guy on the scene, doing very well.
That's right. Well,
all right, we're going to go ahead and throw it to Jarrett. Get a quick interview. Jarrett, take it away.
All right, I'm here with the winner, Western Wolves, Sortof. A somewhat anticlimactic name, but an amazing Zerg player. Give it up. Very good job today, man. I will admit, when I came into work today, I had to Google you. I had to find a bit of background, wasn't sure, and then you came in and have effectively devastated your group. I think you've dropped one match, and you've almost cemented moving on to the next round. Really impressed. Congratulations on your play. Is there, I mean, I assume that you play by yourself in Sweden, at home. Is there some secret to how in your bedroom you can get so good when you are outside of a professional training environment?
I don't know. It's just been practicing a lot. That's about it.
Lots of practice. I probably could have predicted that answer. Is there anything you'd like to say to probably the thousands of fans you've gained today from the people watching the stream?
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching and supporting me. It means a lot. It really helps when playing.
Well, good luck. Have fun in the next rounds. Yeah, another round, please. Very good. I'm just going to run a super fast experiment. I would like to talk to the audience, and just, I'm curious as to how many Zerg players are in our audience today. Maybe put your hand up. Put your hand up. And how many Protoss players? And how many Terran players? I hate you guys. I hate you guys. Experiment number 2, my final experiment. I want to see if I can get the room. We've got a wicked division down the center here. We've got my right side and my left side. So if I can get you all with me to say F, all right? Just the letter F, that's it. F. F. Okay, and if these guys over here, just the letter U. Okay, okay, no wait. League of Legends. Thank you, very good. You did very good. I might periodically throughout the day ask you to do that again, so please remember your roles, okay? You're the Fs, and you're the Us, okay? Does someone want to talk to me? Maybe play a bit of rock, paper, scissors? I've heard I'm pretty good. Is there anyone out there that wants to take me on right here, wants to get on TV? Wow, now that is a funny audience. Come on, don't make me pick somebody. I will pick you. This guy. This guy with an awesome shirt, and hopefully not a foretelling shirt. Nice to meet you, man. What's your name?
I'm Toby.
Toby. Hi, Toby. I'm Jared. Pleasure to meet you. Are you good at rock, paper, scissors?
I can hardly understand you up here.
Oh, I will talk slower. Are you good at rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, I'm some kind of pro, actually. I studied it. No. Actually, I'm horrible.
Oh, okay, good. So you know how to play on 3? You know how to play on 3? Bang, okay. You ready? You guys watching this? Are you excited? Okay. He knows the rock trick. Oh no. Artosis. Okay, you ready? Oh, man, you are metaing me, man. Okay, I got you this time, though. Oh, see? It's all in the head. We'll do a best of 3, okay? I'll give you a chance. Yeah, best of 3. Oh, I'm really sorry, man, but I am pro. Thanks for coming up
Well
here.
played, GG.